photo is taken from that. Someone flew a plane, and I heard it caused a bit of a stir. That doesn't surprise me. I've not been to Balochistan, but in the time when I went to Karachi, I was working on resources development in Pakistan, and it was India-Pakistan cricket match, and they shut down the stock exchanges. So it's like riots, natural disasters, and cricket is, under those circumstances. So I imagine it did cause a stir. So I also, right now, I'm really a financial journalist. I tend to focus on one of the things I focus on is ethical investment. Would you mind? I need someone to, sorry, apologies. And so in February in Paris, I mentioned some of the things that were happening around Rico Deek and the Signed App projects, in that there were in-camera briefings on Rico Deek and Signed App and an update on what was happening. If you notice, in the article from the Tribune had mentioned that everyone's waiting to see what the International Arbitration Award for Rico Deek will be. I have seen numbers like $11 billion. This was published in January, and they said maybe the announcement will come in about 5 months. For anyone who can do the math, I don't see the announcement forthcoming at all. So the one thing that these articles make clear is that Baloch government officials who have the rights to do so are not really allowed into the projects to monitor what is happening. And that's something I've spoken about in previous presentations. So what this presentation focuses on, because of the topic, is some of the higher level things that people are discussing here. This is, what does it actually look like on the ground, right? With specific, like, what does looting natural resources actually look like? And so I draw your attention to this article, The China-Pakistan Nexus to Exploit Tons of Gold from the Mines of Balochistan. So this is a retired Indian colonel who used satellite imagery and his knowledge of the security situation to argue that speculation about the export of gold without the knowledge of the Central Bank of Pakistan may be true. And he goes specifically that there are unlisted airstrips, meaning these flights can go in and out of this region without anyone recording them for any reason. They are under security control. This is extremely significant as a strategic reality. Also, of course, that the military is taking over the Rico Deep project using their own engineers with unlisted airstrips. This is something to be aware of. One of the other ways this comes up is, the next one, please. One of the other ways this comes up, it should say oil, sweat, and tears, is through oil smuggling. So, Baloch youngsters, some of whom have received, that's the one, yeah. This is, so youngsters, some of whom have matriculated, who have degrees, find that the options that they have are to be oil smugglers in Iran. And this is a brilliant article, I highly recommend you read it, about a specific route that's Dalbandin, I'm sorry if I mangled the names, to Dalbandin bypass via main London Road to Yakhmouk, to Ghat, and then 200 kilometers zigzagging through dirt roads with 6 or 7 fuel trucks to smuggle oil from Iran. It's a fascinating read, and this is, how what that ends up looking like in terms of job opportunities for someone with a degree, and how Pakistan comes in with that. They can make about 40,000 rupees off of one truck full of oil diesel, and the cost of one of these Zamyad, they're a specific kind of truck. Apparently, this is the only reason they're used. Is a used one is about $1,250 investment. So one of the other ways that this manifests is could you skip to the next one, please? One of the ways that this manifests as well is where legitimate business concerns might want to enter the region and find far too much legal risk in a complicated situation to do so in a legitimate manner. This actually presents itself as a business opportunity for genocidal maniacs. And so if I just look at the newest ones on the block, looking to make a profit potentially, we'll just look at Daesh for a second. It's one back. It's the one that has the widely reported campaign, right now in the last couple of months, Daesh back, it has a map with Khorasan province. Sorry, just in the last couple of months, Khorasan province is Daesh's territory that encompasses both Afghanistan and Pakistan crossing the border. This has recently changed, very recently, and that now they have a Pakistan province, a Kashmir province, and Khorasan, which continues to be Afghanistan. How much people give this legitimacy varies depending on this institution doing the analysis, but we should remember about the Yazidis and what those people did to them. So I'm sure minorities are taking it very seriously indeed, that they've moved into town. And this is just some of the things that have happened recently in Khorasan, now what's known as Pakistan province, as well as how this manifests with terrorist attacks and, you know, essentially a situation in which people can be killed or murdered with impunity, with a real difficult time really knowing which groups are involved. But ISIS certainly likes to take the claim for things. And so one of the rather spectacular claims of this group was that they could buy a nuclear weapon from Pakistan. I don't know if anyone remembers them announcing that. So of the news items that I have seen about Daesh with regards to Pakistan, this was covered in The Independent, and there was a follow-up academic research into it that looked into how much of a real threat is this. Al-Qaeda also made such claims. They didn't get very far. However, ISIS's ambitions for developing bioweapons did gain attention when a laptop was seized from one of the group's hideouts. So this is definitely something they're thinking about, at least in the delusions of grandeur sense, and considering what they've done up to this point. You know, especially in a situation with a media blackout and people are murdered with impunity, you have to think about how all of that mixes together. This is just, I'm actually on questions. So this is just some specific points. I mean, there's so many things I can mention. These are some specific points about how a situation like this and business interests combine to cause a lot of suffering for people who live there, who are virtually ignored when they try to bring these concerns to a mainstream international public. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.